Hey guys, it's Pineapple here, and I'm really busy right now trying to get some in real life stuff done, but I wanted to take time out to discuss what's happening in this week's chapter of My Hero Academia, since it has been a while since the last chapter, and I know a lot of you want to know how things are wrapping up here as the war arc nears its end. I want to remind you guys that you can follow me on Twitter at VocalPineapple, and you can also subscribe to keep up with my content here, because my analytics tell me that most of my views come from non-subscribers, so what are you waiting for? Hit that sub button real quick, and you won't even have to search for my content anymore, because it'll be right there on your homepage when you get here. Now, we do see Toga and Ochako's battle continue this chapter, and also get an update on what's happening with Shigaraki. But before we discuss what's coming in the next chapter of My Hero Academia, I want to bring you guys a word from this video's sponsor, Crunchyroll. You may already know, but Crunchyroll is the internet's home of anime and manga, with an accessible app on nearly any platform you can think of, from consoles to phones, and it's even on some TVs. Well, with a free membership, you can watch any of the over 1,000 titles that Crunchyroll has to offer with ads. But I'm partnering with Crunchyroll to make sure that my viewers get access to a premium membership, which not only lets you watch the episodes the same day they air in Japan with professional subtitles, but it also allows you to watch it all in 1080p with no ads to interrupt your experience. All you have to do is go to the link in my description, crunchyroll.com/pineapple, and you'll get access to a free 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium, giving you 2 weeks to try the service and experience anime the way that it's meant to be. With such a huge library and new titles being added every season, there's definitely something for you to get hooked on and catch up on, especially considering the fact that Crunchyroll offers more than 90% of all officially licensed anime content in the world. This means that you can literally spend all day watching anime without having to worry about running out of more to discover. And with stuff like Attack on Titan's final season on the way, you definitely want to make sure that you're able to witness the insanity that's going to unfold in the quality that you're meant to watch it in. So again, sign up for a free 14-day free trial using the link in my description, and let me know what anime you find on Crunchyroll that you think I should watch in the comment section below. Now, with all of that said, let's start talking about this chapter of My Hero Academia. Hit it! Okay, so let's get to going over what's going on. According to Atsushi on Twitter, this chapter's title is Akesuke-chan and Shimatoku-chan, which might seem a little random, but they did go on Twitter to clear up the meaning of the title, with Akesuke apparently translating to a frank person, and Shimatoku translating to a secretive person. And of course, chan is an honorific that means the person speaking is either close friends with who they're talking to, they find them endearing, or they're referring to a young woman. With that in mind, I guess something like Miss Direct and Miss Distant would work if I was just trying to get the vibe across of what the title represents, I suppose. And that of course makes me think that the title is in reference to Toga and Ochako, since Toga is very open with everything, and of course Ochako, at least in their interactions, is way more closed off because she sees Toga as a villain and therefore not as someone that she should be letting in as a friend. More on that later in the video though. So the chapter starts with us catching up on the flying heroes that were told to make their way to Shigaraki's battlefield, since obviously they're the only ones who can evade Shigaraki's decay. We see Nejire and another pair of heroes that look like they're riding some sort of shark surfboard through the streets and even over cars, but there's one hero here that I definitely didn't expect to see, and that is Ingenium, otherwise of course known as Tenya Iida from Class 1A. Nejire comments on the fact that Iida isn't supposed to be making his way to where Deku and the others are, because of course his quirk is all about running on land, so Shigaraki should be his natural enemy if anything. But Iida tells Nejire that he's aware of that, but he has to make his way there anyway because 3 of his fellow students, including ones that have saved him in the past, are missing. In all of this madness, he wants to find Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto and get them out of there. And this might actually end up being pretty important because, as we'll discuss in a minute, Shigaraki isn't out of the picture yet, and Shoto is definitely going to need some help if he wants to survive the ordeal that he's about to face. So with Iida making his way to where Shigaraki is, what's actually happening on that side of the battlefield? Well, with Deku and Shigaraki's clash seemingly over for the moment, both Deku and Shigaraki start to fall out of the sky, and Shoto, with the help of Endeavor, flies in to catch Deku, but he can't really hold Deku since he has Endeavor in one arm and Bakugo in the other. So he just kind of goes towards where Deku's falling and cushions the blow by letting Deku crash into him instead. This likely saves Deku's life as the 4 of our heroes smack into the ground, only falling from a low altitude thanks to this save. Instantly, Shoto lays Bakugo and Deku down in front of him and kneels to give both of them first aid, with Bakugo seemingly knocked out and Deku face first in the ground with blood all over his face, as his eyes look like he still thinks he needs to keep fighting. as our 4 heroes prepare to have a moment to breathe and heal, that moment is cut short by Shigaraki, who starts making his way towards Deku again. The amazing part about Shigaraki still trying to keep the fight going is that both of his legs are still regenerating from the onslaught that Deku and Endeavor put on him, but that doesn't stop him at all, since he uses All For One's Force Quirk activation tendrils to keep himself in midair, as they protrude from his back and hands, latching onto the ground and making Shigaraki look almost like some kind of weird, twisted spider demon, which is fitting, I suppose, since his voice actor does voice Rui in Demon Slayer. But let's get back to the point. Shigaraki looks absolutely horrifying here, with half of his face still lacking skin, but he does seem to be healing, if not very slowly. Just as he gets close to Shoto and the others, a huge spiraling wave of energy shoots from off screen, and on the next page, of course, it's revealed that both Nejire and Iida have arrived on the scene. Nejire, like Mirio, is honestly a really good counter against Shigaraki because she has really fine control over her flying, and her energy waves are probably something that Shigaraki has to avoid because I'm not sure if he can just decay them. Either way, Iida steps in front of Shoto, and Shoto tells him that instead of worrying about getting him out of there, Iida needs to start getting Deku, Bakugo, Aizawa, and any other wounded heroes out of there first. Now, while Shoto is discussing the others that need to be saved, Nejire looks over to the side where Manuel is carrying away Gran Torino, and she notices that Ryukyu was hurt really badly as she stumbles away from the battlefield. Nejire, who hasn't really gotten as much focus as her other big 3 members, first looks troubled by Ryukyu's damage, but then turns her attention to Shigaraki and makes a really pouty and angry face, like she intends to get payback for what Shigaraki did to Ryukyu. After that, it remains clear that Deku wants to stay and be some sort of help, even though his arm bones are probably all turning to dust right now. But Shoto tells Deku that Shigaraki definitely looks weakened from everything that he's dealt with so far, so Shoto pretty much says that he'll be taking it from here as he ignites his flames and gets ready to take on Shigaraki alongside Nejire. This is really exciting to me because we've seen the other 2 members of the Endeavor Agency trio having their chance to show off everything that they learned against Shigaraki, and we've also seen the other big 3 members having their time to shine, so I was really a little glad to see that it's Shoto and Nejire's time in the light now. And of course, I really want to see Shoto busting out his Flash Fire Fist and anything else that he's picked up since the last time we saw him fight seriously. The danger, of course, though, is Dabi and Machia are still on their way to Shigaraki, meaning that Shoto definitely could end up fighting Shigaraki for a bit, but it's likely that he's also going to have to defend Endeavor from Dabi when he gets there, but more on that in a bit. Going back to where we left off on last chapter, we have Toga and Ochako's battle in the Dark House. The two continue their battle as Ochako rushes Toga down, leading to the 2 of them battling throughout this house as they kick each other in the different rooms, dodge past TVs and kitchens, and the whole time Toga and Ochako are also talking. Toga explains to Ochako that for her, it was always natural to drink the blood of someone that she loves and try and become them. It seems like Toga's trying to explain to Ochako that this is something that's just part of her nature because of the quirk that she was born with, but I don't think that she's found the right words to really get it through Ochako's head, or at least not until Ochako has some time to sit with her thoughts on Toga as a person after this conflict. The 2 keep fighting and talking, with Toga revealing to Ochako that recently she was able to transform into Ochako and use Ochako's quirk to kill someone, and this shocks Ochako, making her pretty flustered as she uses her grappling hooks on Toga, and Toga returns the favor with her syringes. Eventually, Toga notices something on the ground and picks it up, and it's actually the All Might keychain that Deku got Ochako for Christmas. Toga instantly starts talking about people who are important to her like twice, and starts asking Ochako about Deku and how she feels about him, straight up asking Ochako if he's the boy that she likes. Ochako ignores Toga, probably wanting her to get out of her business, and she lunges for her keychain and has to end up chasing Toga even further as Ochako uses all of her grappling hooks on a bunch of household items that she's been making weightless during the entire fight, and uses them as weapons by swinging them all at Toga at high speeds, while of course some more words are shared here. Toga pretty much effortlessly dodges his attack by Ochako, and Ochako tells Toga that if hurting other people is part of her lifestyle that she has to embrace, then Ochako is gonna bring Toga to justice and make her take responsibility for all of the people that she's hurt. Of course, that's a very hero answer, and Toga looks up to Ochako with tears in her eyes, smiling, and pretty much says, yeah, you're right. As Ochako notices the tears in her eyes, and Froppy comes in and interrupts their fight, giving Toga a good time to get out of there now that she says she has her answer. She leaves Ochako's keychain on the ground, running away with a frown on her face, as Ochako actually looks genuinely concerned about Toga, and it seems like she might finally be starting to wonder if there's something about Toga that she's ignoring or not really understanding. Finally, the chapter ends with Shigaraki and Nejire facing off as Shigaraki tries to use his Force Quirk activation tendrils to fly swat Nejire out of the sky, but the combination of her excellent dodging, Shoto's ice, and other heroes there keeping Shigaraki busy actually makes it seem like the team does have a chance, because they actually are seemingly fighting Shigaraki to a standstill even without Deku, Bakugo, or Endeavor. It's then, however, that reality kicks back in. It starts as a low noise in the distance, but as our heroes are trying to take Shigaraki down, they hear a rumble, followed by massive booming sounds. As it gets louder, the strange rumbling gets even closer and clearer. What starts as rumbling is actually the sound of earth and buildings being torn through at an extreme speed as something massive appears on the horizon. As buildings start to crumble and fall like a chorus of drums celebrating the arrival of even more chaos, our heroes turn away from Shigaraki for just a moment, and they see the source of this devastation. Gigantomachia has arrived on the battlefield, and with him, Dabi and the rest of the League of Villains. Our final page is a double spread featuring Machia, Shoto, Dabi, Deku, Endeavor, Nejire, Iida, and Shigaraki, as we get a reaction panel from each of them, and Dabi looks on with one hand on his chin, ready to end Endeavor's whole career. And that, folks, is what's going on in My Hero Academia chapter 289, and luckily we aren't on break next week. So of course, because this spoiler summary is maybe going to be missing a few things or other things might be inaccurate, make sure you read the chapter officially on Sunday when it comes out with all the proper scans and translations. And make sure you come back here next week or just subscribe so you won't even have to go through all the trouble of searching the video. I'll just be there. I'll see you guys soon. This is Pineapple. I love you. Peace.